All right. What up, Instagram and Facebook and YouTube? Welcome to week 11 of the Boss Up. I'm the Boss Up. Wednesday. Only Fernandez log on to Instagram. Guys, please like and share this feed. Like and share this feed. Today is going to be another exciting week of Boss Up. It's going to be super lit. I'm excited what we're going to talk about today. Um, I'm still full from the weekend. Like the Boss Up boot camp. Um,
You
that
you
was
stay on that boss up right now, huh?
yeah. We're going right into Boss Up. I'm just saying, like, so you see the shirt, Boss Up. So this past
Yes.
weekend, we had the Boss Up podcast. I mean, the Boss Up boot camp in Jersey City. It was super dope, very transformative. Like, people were
Mm-hmm.
crying. I was crying like a big baby. We were just talking about so much breakthrough events from Boss Up. We had Natalie come out, of course, from Columbus, Georgia. Had Tiana Von Johnson
Augusta.
out. Had Louis Spears, Salim Muhammad, and some other speakers too. Tashonda. It was just a super dope event, and what made it so dope was it was an event of transparency, right? Thinking of the word boss up, I got my boss up shirt on. It's building opportunities strategically and successfully, right? So when we talk about
Mm-hmm.
as a boss, we create opportunities, we build, all right, we have strategy, and we create opportunities for other people. So it's just like as an entrepreneur, I'm so excited that we were able to embark on that venture because it started from this podcast. Well, Boston started 2 years ago, but it never came to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie and I started to do a podcast every single week 11 weeks ago, and it accelerated everything we had going on because we made a choice, right? Entrepreneurship is about making choices that will not only impact your today but your tomorrow. All right.
Come
So,
on.
Natalie, what was your takeaways, your aha moments from the Boss Up Boot Camp?
So let me just say hey to Joe Shug. He came in. He's an amazing coach himself. Hey to Sydney. Hey to oops.
All right, she's logging back on there.
Uh-oh.
Um, but yeah, so like just going about back while Natalie's logging back on, just talking about Boss Up Boot Camp, it was just such a phenomenal experience for me because as an entrepreneur, I got a really chance to really examine myself. I think some moments we're so in the
Sorry.
groove of doing entrepreneurship that we're not taking moments to really kind of pause and reflect about our practices. You know, it's so easy to stay hooked on entrepreneurship. You're in your business, but sometimes you got to step outside of your business to really move into purpose. You know,
I'm over
I,
40. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm over 40. When I touch the screen, I go away.
it's cool, fam. We on now. We on now. We got you on now. But what I was saying was,
Yes.
the beautiful part about the experience this weekend was it got a chance for us to really have fellowship as entrepreneurs and to really be very transparent. You know,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship, you have to have this game face on all the time, but it's dope when you're in a room full of entrepreneurs and you can really kind of just relax and really
Mm-hmm.
focus on what's going on at the moment, right? So we got a chance to
Mm-hmm.
really develop strategies, literally strategies from
Yeah, we
cryptocurrency to
did.
get funding. Natalie didn't get a chance to really go through her clarity, and I can't wait for the next boot camp that we can really talk more about that part with the C3 clarity framework. So,
Mm-hmm.
Natalie, going back to you, now that you're on live and we ain't
I
getting
know,
no more
right? I'm not
distractions,
gonna touch nothing. Hey to everybody. That's all I want to say. Hey.
what were your takeaways from this past weekend, fam?
It was so many takeaways. So many people said such amazing things. The first one from Crystal, she talked about how failure is inevitable as an entrepreneur. And when
Yes.
you have that mindset that, listen, you're going to fail, it's supposed to happen, then you're not caught off guard when it does happen, but you're able to pivot and move forward. And the crazy part was everything she spoke, I have been speaking for weeks on my platform on Clubhouse. I was like, this was just confirmation that I am on the right track. And then Shawnee B came and she talked about the importance of having a coach and how a coach actually helps you accelerate the process. Listen,
Yeah.
you can go slow if you want to, but if you want to go fast and with precision, you need to get you a coach. She really
Yes.
solidified that. Then Halima came with the cryptocurrency and the business funding, and my God, our minds was literally blown out of the water. It was like something new for us. It was new
Yeah.
terrain, and we didn't realize that crypto, if we invest in crypto, we can actually fund our business
Yeah. Good
by
stuff.
just having those little investments. Then we had the other young lady came on. Oh no, Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis came on, and Lewis was like, "Y'all are doing a disservice to the economy if you are not mentoring or hiring youth." I was like,
It's
"What?"
true.
You know what I
It's so
mean?
true.
Oh, and
My
then
business
Tiana
thrives because of my
came.
mentees.
Listen, then Tiana came and laid it out and gave us a framework and a pathway to millions of dollars. So I was so excited to be a part of that Boss Up Boot Camp, to be able to co-host with you, Chef Jay, and to see all the people come in and they also walk away with their own aha moments. People were writing notes down. They were
Oh
taking
yeah.
notes. I got a notebook right here from the Boss Up Boot Camp. Even on the front, I was like, I ain't got no space in it. I'm on the front. You know what I mean? Hey,
That's funny.
Star.
That's funny. And I think the other part why I enjoy too was our morning start off about really speaking to our morning.
Mm-hmm.
An entrepreneur, sometimes we get so used to business that we forget to dream. We forget to really create the imagination. The thing I love when I think about being a kid, you're like, that's my house, that's my house, that's my car, that's my
Mm-hmm.
car. And to the point when realities of life start to really overshadow your imagination,
Come
where
on.
things you used to dream about, now you're like, oh, I can't afford that. Or I don't have time to do that. Or I wish I
Yeah.
could. But if it's not one thing, it's another. But the thing about imagination is you get to create the imagination for your life and bring it to your reality. Lack does not have to be your reality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, poverty doesn't have to be your reality. Your reality
Mm-hmm.
is what you create. Now, for example, is
Mm-hmm.
you have two different platforms. You have thoughts versus imagination, right? You have your thoughts, which come to you naturally, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you got random thoughts, right? But then your imagination is created by you. You get to create your imagination. Whatever you
Mm.
start to dream and fathom about, that's what you control. And now it's time to bring your yes, I love black does not have to be reality. Your reality is conditioned by what you feel, what you see,
Mm-hmm.
what you create. Like, for example, is too um the whole talking about, like, just the event. That event was in my imagination,
Mm-hmm.
about bosses coming together to boss up. And then it happened and it manifested. But what happened is, in the time from you get to your imagination, your manifestation, to the manifestation, you have to plan, right? What
Yeah.
happens is too, there's a key part of planning that makes it so strategic. You have to be so strategic about what you want to happen. Like, one thing I love about Natalie is a planner. Like, she conditions herself to plan her day, her week, her month. Where sometimes she like, I can't talk to you right now because I planned X, Y, and Z, but I will do. I can contact you at 1:30. How does that sound?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she conditions her life to be planned to be successful.
Listen, and it starts with your imagination. I love that.
Yes,
Everybody dropping in the chat. They dropped in the chat. You get to create your imagination. And I love
yes,
that you said that, because I tell people all the time, as a clarity coach, as a visionary strategist, I know the importance of your vision and the importance of you creating your reality in your mind first.
yeah,
It is Stephen Covey that says that we are living, our reality is actually our second, we've seen it for the second time. We
yes,
first see it in our minds. And I love that we are sitting on a couch right now, but we are sitting in someone's imagination. A
yeah,
couch was designed in someone's imagination before it came into fruition. And when I walked into the Boss Up Boot Camp event, I was blown away because I literally walked into Shonda's mind. So Shonda
yeah,
is the event coordinator. She hosts a space, and so we were able to have the space and have the Boss Up Boot Camp at that location. But she really transformed it. Josh sent me some pictures while I was on the plane. I'm back. Josh sent me some pictures while I was on the plane, and it did not look the same when I walked into that
heck
space. When
no.
I
I
walked into that
Listen,
space, I
that place
said,
is nothing,
my
nothing.
God. I said, who decorated here? And she was like, me. I said, I walked into your mind
That's
today. Like,
good.
this was not what I saw. I could not have imagined that. And we have to realize people are sitting when we create stuff, when we begin to explore our imagination. People get to be a part of something that was right here first.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
good.
owe it to ourselves to sit and take time to dream about all the possibilities. The fact that Josh and I are talking via phone or via the laptop, this was in somebody else's thoughts before it came to be.
That's
That's how
good.
powerful we are. And so Josh, we let them, Josh and I, we let them into this exercise where their imagination was reawakened from the
Yeah.
beginning. It was reawakened and reignited. So look, we started off with a bang on Saturday, okay?
Listen, the atmosphere was thick, but here's the other part about that too is right. The reason why imagination is so important is that, and going into our topic today, imagination is the breeding ground for confidence, right?
Mm,
When you think about as a kid, right? And Halima brought this point. What up, Halima? She brought this point up about how, as a kid, we're like, "That's my car. That's my car. That's my house. That's my house." And as a kid, you're just
mm-hmm,
naturally just speaking what you just know belongs to you, right? So what
mm-hmm,
happened is when you have the mindset of just this belongs to me, you get the confidence to say, okay, when it doesn't come, why is that not happening for me? Because I know it belongs to me. But
mm-hmm,
once life starts to hit you with life's realities, you're like, oh, I can't afford that or I can't do that. But now it comes to a point when you work on building that confidence, there is nothing you can't do. And I realized
mm-hmm.
that when it comes to my mindset, and when I'm believing for different things, I have to excommunicate those who don't believe. I can love them dearly, but if they don't have the same faith that I have, the same imagination I have, which leads to confidence, they can dumb down your confidence, and you're like, wait, hold on. When did this negativity come on me? Because this was never how I thought. So
Birds
I
of a
have to go back
feather
to the
flock
drawing board.
together.
Let me build up my confidence because I know everything belongs to me. And when you're confident, people love confidence. Confidence is
Mm,
attractive. People
mm-hmm.
just want to be around you because you're confident.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, is when we went up to speak, each speaker had their confidence that drew the person in to their
Come
story,
on.
right? When Halima got to talk about cryptocurrency, she walked up with a certain level of confidence that made people take notes and pay attention. When Natalie
Mm-hmm.
got up, I had somebody know because they know who you were. They said, "Oh, who's that?" She just like her energy, her presence. Your confidence will draw people into what you do. So if I'm a chef and every time you see me, I look down and depressed, you might not want to eat my food because energy is transferable even through food. So it's like you have to
Listen,
develop a confidence that's gonna make business. People confidence will make you make money. There's some people on Instagram who can't cook a lick, who can't sing a lick, but their confidence will just draw you in that you want to buy their product.
J-Lo. I mean, hey, uh, listen, thank you so much, Star, because that's where I was going. Look at my girl out here, the content creator, TV producer. Clarity makes you confident.
Yes,
And listen, that's exactly what I was going to touch on. Every person that came up there and blew it out of the water, they started with I am. Like
yes,
they were clear about who they were. They were clear about who they were called to serve. They were clear about how they were stepping on the stage. Like they knew themselves. And you
yeah,
have to be clear about who you are in the marketplace. Too many of us are saying, oh, I just can't make the sale, or I don't understand why the client is not, buying from me. And they think it's because of it is because of a confidence issue, but they keep saying, oh, it's the market is this, or the market is that, or it's oversaturated, all these excuses. But let me tell you
yeah,
something. When you have clarity on who you are, I know that God created each of us different. Why? Because I got a different fingerprint. I see things differently. My eyes are not the same like everybody else. I
yeah,
think differently. And when I understand that that is not a disadvantage, but that puts me at an advantage in certain places, then I
that's
show
good.
up with that confident, like, yo, ain't nobody gonna do clarity like Natalie do clarity. There's a
Yes,
million clarity coaches out there in the world, but they can't do it the way that I do it, the way that I finesse, how I speak, the background that I have, what I
that's
have
good.
seen in my life. Nobody lived a life like I lived a life. So I now don't have to compare myself to the next clarity coach. I don't have to make myself look better.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to be me. And those that are assigned to my voice are attracted to me. So if they don't come, that's okay.
That's
It
good.
may not be the right time. It may not be the right season. They may not have the money yet. Go save your funds. But best to believe who is meant to be connected to me will be, because I'm clear about who I am. And I'm not having to worry about this person. Look, clarity will help you stay protected from comparison.
Yes,
Okay? You will
that's
not
good.
show up comparing yourself to anybody else at all. And when you have that, when you don't feel like you need to measure up, there's a level of confidence that comes with that, that you're like, yo, let's all boss up. Not
Oh
just
yeah.
me. Let everybody boss up.
I think the biggest part about that too, who created the scale you're supposed to be on? When you're measuring yourself, who created the scale for you to measure? Like there's everybody's gift is different.
I like
What I
that.
realized, the thing I realized about what we do is just like, who said I had to measure up to your standards?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what I realized is about once I created the scale of success for Joshua, I didn't have to worry about
Mm.
anything else because
Wow.
Joshua's scale is different from Natalie's scale.
That's
It's still a scale
right.
of excellence, but what make Natalie excellent may not what I need to make me excellent. So it's just like we have to, as you start to get clarity of your purpose, clarity of your vision,
Mm-hmm.
it's like going to the eye
That's it.
doctor. They say, hold on, is this better or is this better? And they keep showing you different visuals, but until you get that visual, your visual still look blurry. So what
Mm-hmm.
happens as you take time to
That's
imagine, have
good.
imagination, you take time to get clarity of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start to see yourself, you can't unshow me what
Woo!
I've seen. So once I get a glimpse of all that I can do, you can't stop me from just dreaming. That's why it's important to have coaches. I was talking to my mentee
Mm-hmm.
earlier. I don't know if Shamar's still on the line, but Shamar
Hey,
was saying he wants
Shamar.
to be, a life coach and a fitness trainer. So we've been talking about that for about 2 years, him being a trainer. And what I was saying to him was, I said, listen, the thing about coaching, the thing about like it's okay to be a coach, but you have to have a joy and moment. Through my food, people get to have a glimpse of my confidence, the glimpse
Mm-hmm.
of confidence of flavors, confidence of presentations, because now they buy into me. And once they buy into me, I can sell you anything.
Mm.
So the creative part about being confident about who you are, people are not only attracted to that, they're willing to open up their Apple Pay, their Cash App, their Zelle, their Venmo, their Shopify, because now they want to spend with you because they trust the confidence inside of you. But if you keep, not going forth with the first thing, how do you expect to get money from the back end from future things? Like people are attracted to most product on Instagram. People not even looking at the product; they're looking at the person because
Mm-hmm.
the person has been so mesmerizing that it's like, yo, what you even sell? I just want to buy it. Like when you look at people like Coach Stormy, I love Coach Stormy. Like the thing about Coach Stormy that's so dope is she sells you a confident lifestyle. She shows you glamour. She shows you motivation. And now it's like, yo, Coach, whatever you buying, I'm selling. And you
Mm-hmm.
right. I mean, I ain't gonna say that out loud. Well, we would just say it online. But it's like people are attracted to confidence. And what I realized once, and just going back forward to like some years ago, I don't really feel like I had enough confidence, right? I had to grow into certain things. But the thing about it is, what I started to say was, I said, you know what? Nothing else matters because God loves me. I had to meditate on the love of God that He had for me,
Mm.
right? Because once you know your love, you know you got your gift because He loves you. God loves you, and He just wants He wants to show His love by giving you giftings, and the giftings will be shared to the world. So now it's like when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the world, our gifting is an expression of God's love for the earth, right?
Yeah.
Every gift that we have is for somebody else. And once you know your love, you get to share love to others by being confident in sharing your gift because your gift is not about you.
Yeah,
Like
it's
there are
not
people
about
who
you.
love Natalie because of what she does, but one, Natalie has clarity because once she knows who she is, she knows she's loved by God, and she knows that her gift has a purpose to show love and to elevate
Mm-hmm.
other people into their purpose.
That's a higher level of thinking. Now I'm holding my ears because my ears are too small and
Yeah.
these headphones are too big. So I'm not like, hey, the op is here. No. So I'm just letting y'all know, and you see my hands right there. But that's another level of being and being clear, not just about who you are,
Yeah.
but who you serve. You really have clarity that this is bigger than you. That I'm not out here just to make the sale or to make the client or to make myself look a certain way.
Yeah.
No, I'm out here really, like you said, to share my gift. My gift was designed for the people that are connected to my voice. And
That's
so
good.
I mean, I love everything that you were saying, and I'm trying to figure out which point I want to go with next. But a lot of people lack the confidence, and I'll be honest with you because I had um, a a client the other day, and I
Mhm.
said, "Have you ever tried your own product? Have you ever gone through your own coaching program?
That's good.
You you're not willing to give it because I was asking the person if they could give it away for free and they're like, I said, okay. If you're not willing to give it away for free, because that's what I suggest to my clients when they're brand new into business and creating a business, hey, sometimes you may have to offer your service or your products for free to a select few
Yeah.
people and kind of do market research. I said, okay, so you're not at the stage yet where you're ready to give somebody that program or that service. Have you
Yeah.
gone through the program yourself? Do you actually know if this program works or if it doesn't work? Does
That's
the
good.
program gets the results that you're claiming that it gets? And she said she didn't know. I said, that's where you start. Walk through your program yourself.
Yeah.
See exactly what the program does, the service does, the product does, and
Yeah.
that begins to build your confidence. Too many times we keep the idea in the imagination phase, and then we go directly from imagination to product, and it has not been tested or tried. And so our
Yeah.
confidence is low when
That's good.
nobody gravitates to something that has been tested or tried. I don't put out a service or product all the time as a offer, and I used to before when I came into business
Mhm.
brand new without doing research. I used to throw offers out there and just throw it at the wall and be like, oh, nobody want it, throw it away. Now what I do is I put offers in the market and I test the waters. Is
Yeah. That's
this
good.
something that someone actually wants? Is there something wrong with what I'm putting out there? Do I need to tweak some things? I've put a few offers out there, and some, like the clarity framework, pulling in, but others, crickets. So now I have to look at it. I know it's not something wrong with me. I know who I am. But how
That's
I'm
good.
packaging who I am is not resonating with the market. Does it diminish my confidence? Absolutely not, because I got clarity. But it does help me see maybe something is wrong with how I'm putting it out. Maybe something
Mhm.
is wrong with what I'm putting out. So I got to go revamp and retweak. So a lot of the times we don't have the confidence because we have not walked through what we're trying to push on other people
That's true.
ourselves. We
And
have not had time to try it or evaluate it to see if it actually does what it says it's supposed to do.
that's such a good situation because it's not that first of all, some it's like the candy now or later. Some ideas are for now, some are for later, right? So,
Yep.
but it's true though. Like sometimes you got to chew on it some more to break it down because it's not
Yes.
that it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea for now, right?
Mhm.
Private dining. I say it all the time. I started doing it in 2013 with the first gig that someone asked me to do. It was a super dope event, but it wasn't ready to really go out in the magnitude that I do it now. It didn't take place until 2017. But the thing
Mhm.
about it is, it took me 4 years to perfect my skills. Like there's certain rooms that you're in just to listen, and then you'll be in the room to speak later on. There are
Come
certain
on.
products you're meant to create, but not to release it right away because there are tweaks in it. Like it's like the product, the 409 spray. Like I remember seeing the 409 spray, the cleaning product. So I'm not sure why it's called 409, but it's called 409 because the scientists had and the chemists had to go through 409 formulas to get it right.
Yeah.
E40, the spray.
Ooh,
The spray
yes.
E40 is because it
You're
took 40
right.
formulas to get it right.
You're right.
So
You're
there's
so
certain things
right.
that you're not going to get right away in business, but practice makes perfection. And some things aren't ready to come out because it's not perfected enough. Because next, if it's certain things I released that didn't become popular till later. I had a seasoning line since 2000 and maybe 2010, right? But it didn't get notoriety to maybe like 2020,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to revamp it. I had to make it sodium free. So there's certain things that are hit when they hit the market, they're not ready just yet. But when it comes to fruition, it's like clothes. Certain clothes come back out like 10 years later, and it's
For
successful.
real.
It's back popular again. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to certain products and services, don't get discouraged because it didn't hit right away. Some things take, it's like a rubber band too. Like if I keep pulling at the rubber band, eventually it's gonna pop. But sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
gotta get through that toughness. You gotta, work
You
on it
do.
longer because, as you work on yourself, uh, you realize that later down the line you was missing one key element, but if you would have went out with
Yes.
it then, your profit margin wouldn't have been as great because you didn't take time to develop it. There's something
Mm-hmm.
about development. There are diamonds. You can't see a diamond outright. You have to work on the diamond to get it to come out to this fullest tuition. You don't get olive oil right away. You have to press the olive to get all the flavor out of it. And it's just like you, we as people, we have greatness inside of us, but until we really constantly work, constantly
Mm-hmm.
personal develop, constantly read books. I got all these books behind me. These are books that I read. I have a journal that I write in every single day because I'm perfecting myself until I get to the point where I'll be at my highest height. Like for today, I
Mm-hmm.
am at today's highest height. Tomorrow, there's
That's
a whole new
good.
level for me to go to. And
That's
sometimes it'll
good.
take me weeks, months, years to get where I need to be to launch off into the deep of where I'm really supposed to be. Like I'm so thankful where I am now, but I know that I haven't seen a quarter of what's really inside of me.
Mm, that's so good. I love how you talked about product development and how it took 409, 409 tries and E40, 40 tries, and they continued through the process. And along the way, they were more confident with each level that this was the one, this was the one, this was the one. And that's the same thing with us. We don't realize we are the product.
Yeah,
We are the product. We have been manufactured by the great producer. And so, as the product, we have to go through product development over time.
yeah,
And that's going to increase our confidence as we, okay, yesterday, like you said, today I'm getting to my highest level, but tomorrow the bar has just been raised. And
yeah,
when you think about it like that, you're always in a position where I am constantly learning. I am never going to be at my best self until the day that I die. I've already decided that.
yeah.
Like
That's
I will
good.
constantly learn every room that I enter into, even with the Boss Up Boot Camp. We went in there as the host. So we're, you know what I mean, creating the space or the atmosphere for the people. But let me
Mhm.
tell you something, there were lots of moments that I was just like taking this in, soaking this up. I
Yeah,
got this. This is definitely good advice. Like I took notes. That's one thing I do. I take notes. Every room that I enter into, it's always a room to pour. Well, not always a room to pour, because some rooms I'm just the dumbest person in the room and I like it like that. But there's always an opportunity to receive. There's
that's good.
always an opportunity to receive. Even if I'm the major one that's pouring, I'm looking around to see what can I receive in this moment. And I know we had this conversation and Josh is like, I'm hardest on myself. And that's how it's supposed to be. Like
Mhm.
we always have to be putting ourselves through the pressure, where a lot of the times, this is where the slowdown comes in. We don't put ourselves through the pressure. We're waiting for life. We're waiting for circumstances. We're waiting for God to put us through the fire. How many
Mhm.
times have you put yourself in the fire? How many
Yeah,
times have you put yourself in the product development line to say, you know what? I need some more things to be birthed out of me. Let me put
yeah.
myself in this position. That's what taking a class does to you.
That's
That's what
true.
going into a boot camp does to you. That's what getting a coach does to you. You now position yourself to put yourself in the fire and say, there's more in me that needs to be squeezed out. And I'm going to get everything, all the purpose that I have in me. I know you say that a lot, Josh, and I'll let you elaborate on that. It's going to come out of me before the day that I die. I will die, like you say, empty. I'm not
Yeah.
dying filled with nothing that God wants to be poured out of me.
Oh, definitely. I think that's the biggest part about it too. Is I think we live each day like it's not our last.
Mm-hmm.
Like we live life like we don't have an expiration date. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it then. But it's just like, nah, get up and do it today. Because now I'll have some stuff that I put out there and it won't be as successful. But the thing about it, some things you have to put out because now you have a visual documentary of your life and what needs to be done better.
Ooh, that's
You know,
good.
like,
That's
yes, everything's not
good.
meant to be birthed today, but some things aren't happening because you're just not getting up and doing it. You know, there's certain success, like sometimes you're not successful because you're not being proactive. You know, there are certain successes that would really come up if you get up and move. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm in a point in my life where it's like I'm not going. So like think about products, right? You're not the only one with that idea to do that, right? Because there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing new under the sun. But sometimes it's the difference between being the first and the best to put it out there. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like sometimes when you wait so long to really operate in your gift and in your purpose, you miss out the opportunity to share your gift. You know, I'll hear all the time. Also, someone say, "Oh, I thought about that invention first." It don't.
Yes.
It don't matter what you thought
It don't
about.
matter.
It
Yep.
matters what you produce. You know, I was
Ooh.
listening to Dr. Stacia, and she was saying this when I love my mentor, Dr. Stacia Pierce. She made a good point. You're not short of cash. You're just short of ideas that are being
Yes.
implemented. The more you implement your ideas, the more cash flow you have available. Like when I thought about these past couple of months where it was a little rocky on finances, I'm like, Jay, you didn't publish the ideas. Like
Mm-hmm.
you were doing other odd jobs when you weren't really focusing on, hey, let me sit down and focus on all my ideas. Because idea is never a shortage of ideas. If you just sit down, focus, maybe go on a fast, maybe read a book, maybe walk around and clear your mind, have clarity, like Natalie was talks about. Now you're able to create the ideas that will lead to resources. But think about ideas. Like I talk to you all the time, right? Yesterday I was with one of my friends, and he was talking about what he wants to do, and I'm like, bruh, I said, honestly, can we stop talking about this? I said, the reason why is every time we talk is the same conversation, but I don't see no actions. So if you're going to be around somebody like me, if you're not producing, we don't ever have to talk about goals and dreams no more. Because for me,
Wow.
it irritates me when somebody always talks about their goals and dreams and they never produce. Because after a while, why are you replaying your life over again when I'm on fast forward? Like I'm on a
Wow.
whole race. And it's just like I would love to bring people on with me, but if you don't have the productivity, it don't mean you got to move fast, but every day you got to be productive. And if you're not productive, I'm sorry, I don't want to keep talking about productive things with somebody who's not productive. And sometimes in your life, you have people that you're surrounded by, they're not actively producing, so you get stuck and you get a pause on your life because you're waiting, trying to lift other people up who ain't even ready to go. So it's like even too like that's why I like driving to places by myself because listen, some people not ready when I'm ready. I like to be there. So if you're gonna be getting ready, just meet me there. It's okay. Some people are just meant to meet you there, and then they'll learn from the crumbs you leave behind. So as you're running on your journey, some people have to see the dust you leaving behind and for them to move up and elevate. So my thing is listen, I'm like, listen, fam, and Natalie saw it too. We was talking about this too with the whole boss up event. We supposed
He
to be in
do.
Charlotte. I said, Natalie, listen, in 2 hours, I said, listen, we about to flip the script. Natalie knew that she had to start looking up flights to New Jersey because she knew I was doing it with or without her. Now I love Natalie. That's my big sister, but she know that I'm gonna go on with it without you. I still love you, fam. You'll still see the videos, but I would rather you be there to enjoy it with me. Success does not have to be mean. Like I hate when you say is lonely at the top. For who? For you? Because my friends are elevating with me because we have that same common core of success and belief. So we're working on each other like Natalie's like, nah, Jay, you need to do this next time. Or I'm like, hey Natalie, how about you do
Mm,
this? Because we're constantly working on elevating into our purpose.
that's so good. Woo! That
Natalie
is
was
so
about to be
good.
left. Look, Natalie was looking up the
I knew.
flight.
Yeah, I knew I was going to be left. So I had to make a decision. Either I get on board or get left behind. Either way, I knew because I already know that you're the type of go getter. But then I surround myself with that type of go getter because there's something in you that inspires me. I need to step up my game. I need to move faster. I
Yeah.
need to stop. And a lot of times we talk about, oh, my stuff is delayed, it's delayed, it's delayed, but we're the one that's causing the delay. Sorry, somebody's calling me. We're the one that's causing the delay ourselves.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
we have to sometimes be the one to get out of our way. Like we need to move out of our way. And I love that you talked about having that team and having those people around you, because one of my clients talked about, she had spoke to me and she said, I connected with this other person because of you. And I was like, that's great. And so the person was asking, questions, and she was like, it's called borrowed credibility.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's so cool. So, borrowed credibility is if you and I are connected and somebody sees us on this podcast and they're connected to me, they'll connect with you because you and I are connected and they
Yeah.
trust me. So the same thing when it comes to confidence. We don't realize that when we are surrounded by people who are confident about who they are in themselves, it gives other people permission to be confident in who they are, because I see him confident and stepping out in himself and doing his thing and making mistakes and bouncing back from mistakes. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to step out and make mistakes and bounce back from mistakes. I'm about to step out in who I am because I'm called to be this type of person. We don't realize that being surrounded by those type of people energizes us and infuses us to move forward. Same
Definitely.
way when you're surrounded by bums who are like, I can't, I won't say bums. Let me reframe that.
The
When you're
super
surrounded
motivated.
by people who are not so confident in their
Yeah.
call, not so confident in their identity. Identity is important. That's why the devil came to snatch Eve's identity, not just talk to her about eating a fruit. He was talking to her about who she thought she was in relation to who God says she was. But that's a whole nother podcast. But um, when you understand who you are, you move different.
Mm-hmm.
When you
That's
are
true.
around certain people who don't understand who they are, you begin to question yourself and you begin to question your call because you see other people questioning themselves as well. That becomes your norm, to question yourself. So I don't know why the podcast is going this way, but if you find yourself surrounded by people who are questioning their call, I need you to move out of that circle and get
That's
with some
good.
people who know who they are. Get with some people who are sure about themselves. Don't feel intimidated. Watch how they move.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how they speak. Learn their language so that you can now move forward with that same kind of confidence, because those are the people that are attracting people to them in the marketplace. Those are the type of people who are attracting people who want to collab, to say, man, I want to pay you $500 to do a collab with you. They're not trying to milk you for what you got for free. They want to collab with you and pay you for
Yeah.
the confidence that you have. Like, we don't realize how important it is to be confident in not just God, because a lot of people say, I'm confident in God, but confident in you, knowing that God created you as a solution to the problem that exists in the
Yeah, that's good.
marketplace. You're in entrepreneurship because there's a problem and you are the solution. And I know people say, well, it's the product and the surface, but without you, can there be that product? Without you, can there be that surface?
You're
There
talking
can't be a
good.
clarity C3 framework without Natalie. Nobody else has a C3 clarity framework. They might do it similarly, but it's not the same thing without me. So out of you comes these things that God positions as the solution in the marketplace. But if you are not confident in that, you will show up repelling clients and being like, yeah, I'm a good speaker, or I'm a good person, or I'm nice, but I'm not the one that you should buy from. Go find somebody else that could do it better than me.
You said something so good. You said a lot of good stuff. First off, I gotta start having my notebook like you be having, just like
I know, right?
ooh, that was good. But no, you said something that was really good. Learning the language of the room. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we're ill prepared because we don't stop, shut up, and listen to the language of the room.
Who tell them?
Because when you come into a room, right, and I've always learned this, to be observant. I don't have to be the loudest. Sometimes I just have to be quiet, listen to the
Come
language,
on.
learn the language, and then regurgitate what I need to know. So once I start to identify who's in the room, what's in the room, and what's being discussed in the room, I start to I start to talk about what about me needs to be in that
Mm-hmm.
room. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
even to the super dope part about it is I literally travel like cooking all over for so many different
He
people.
has.
And the first thing I think about is I observe first. I always observe every room, every client. I see their mannerisms, and then I start to interject and control and own the room. Because sometimes when you observe, you know how to control the room to work for you. And control doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be a negative thing. It's like, okay, cool. If this is the room that I am, how do I be like this is it's a chameleon that changes their colors. It's not saying you're the
Maneuver
same
through the room.
inside, but now you're
Yes.
changing yourself to fit into that room. Doesn't say change who you are, but when you learn the language of the room, you start to speak fluently, so where you become an addition. Me and Helene went to this one event in Chicago. The girl had like a business planning workshop, and I was just asking questions. I examined the room. She had certain questions. I would answer certain things. She was like, "Yo, bro," like she was like, "Oh, you know about this." The thing about it is, you have to examine certain rooms because you have to see if you add value to that room, or even if you want to be in that room. Because some rooms, some people are excited to be in, and then you realize after it's over, like, yeah, this wasn't the room for me. If I would have just kind of sat down and examined the room, I would have known that this is not where I belong. So once you build that confidence, but also be confident enough to really just be quiet and listen, you start to see the rooms that you're in and learn the language. It's nothing like learning the language of a room because
It's
once you learn a
nothing like
language,
learning a
you know
language.
how to communicate, you know how to articulate, you know how to reach who you need to reach in a room, you
Mm-hmm.
see who does what, and you know who to kind of gear your conversation toward.
Yeah.
It's one thing about like sometimes you just gotta shut up and just listen to the room.
You
Like
sure
I've
do.
learned that so many times that when you just be quiet, examine the room, learn the language, learn the content, learn what they're saying, because sometimes you're not quiet long enough to hear a key word that will spark an interest in
Yes.
you. And once you hear that, now you can go actively pursue the room, what you need to get out of it, because there's always something for you to get out of it. But also, too, is don't ever think that you have nothing to add to the room. That's where confidence comes
Yeah.
into play. Because when you're
Yeah.
confident about who you are, what you sell, your service, or your product, now you know that you carry weight in that room as well too, and people are looking for what you have. But if you don't listen to the
Yes.
client or the potential client
Yes.
or the tone of the room, you won't know what to add.
Ooh. Ooh, listen, let me amplify what you just said because I love that you said that you don't walk into the room and you change who you are. You don't. When you have clarity on who you are, you know who you are, and you're always evolving. You're not changing like changing your feathers or coats or whatever it is, but you
Mhm.
change your approach. So when you enter the new room, you don't change who you are. You change your approach.
Yeah,
I
that's
am a
good.
mother, but I don't go into the boardroom as a mother. I'm not going to approach a CEO mothering them. I'm not going to come to
Or
my
approach speaking
kids.
in tongues you because you're a Christian.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to do that. I have to survey the land. I have
Yeah.
to understand what room, what audience, what type of people that I'm called to, and then I approach them in a different way. The Bible says you are all things to all men. That's what Paul said. But y'all got to read between the lines. How I deliver the message is going
Hmm.
to be different. I can't talk to a 5-year-old about clarity and use words like manifestation or all that other big stuff. They don't understand that, so I got to bring it down to their level so they can understand the language and still get
Hmm.
what I have to offer, because
That's
I
good.
am, like you said, weighty enough to speak to a 5-year-old and speak to a 50-year-old, speak to a CEO and speak to a minister, but the approach has to be different. And we got to know that the approach has to be different. But the core essence of who you are, your values, your principles have to remain the same. You have to be grounded. A lot of people like to when they get into different rooms, change the way that they are to adapt to the room because they think the room is what makes them. But you have to be grounded on
That's
something. You
good.
can't build a house unless it has a firm foundation. Now, you can add different things to it. You can change the color of the house, you can change the windows, you can change the flooring, but the foundation never changes. It has to be the same. And we have
Yeah.
to realize that as people, our foundation has to stay the same. What are our core values? What's the core pillars of your company? Are you based on truth, love, hope, whatever it is that you design, however you design? Those have to remain the same. but everything else you can adapt and adjust. The strategy on
Yeah,
how you maneuver through the rooms got to be different, but the foundation, the core, the essence of who you are must remain the same. You cannot change that core foundation of who you are, because you'll
that's
find
good.
yourself every day. Imagine want to add something to your house and every day digging up a new foundation. That does not make any sense. That's what we
That's
look
good.
like when we go into these rooms and we trying to shift and change to adapt to everybody else. And that's why a lot of our confidence levels are low, because you have no standards, you have no foundation, you have nothing to build on. And
Yeah,
so you have no confidence because you're always changing. When the storms and the
that's
wind comes,
good.
you got a new set of values. When something new comes out on the market, you got a new set of values. And so you have no confidence because you have no stability. You
And
got to
it's
figure
not
out who
values.
you
You have a
are.
new set of tactics to infiltrate, and that's the biggest
Mm-hmm.
part about it is like so oftentimes we become so calculated to calculate to appeal to people when it's just when you're naturally yourself and like you said, first of all, identify
Yes.
the language of the room, and now to see what about me can I add to this room because it's
Mm-hmm.
not always about trying to and I realized that too. Like I've never been hyped up about celebrities. I've never been hyped up about anybody. Like they're just normal people. They just knew how to get access to the right things. There's nothing but
Mm-hmm.
difference between you and I don't know Kanye West. Is nothing different. It's just the opportunities that we take to get us to the next level. So that's why confidence is so important as an entrepreneur because when you display confidence, it attracts people towards you. Where you
Yeah.
can be quiet in a room, but your confidence has an air about you, be so thick in the room that people want to find out who you are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
never stop being you. It's so. Oh, what's up, fam? What up, brother Haas?
Hey, Brother
It's so
Haas.
important to just focus on. If you're so focused on yourself and self development and just really growing in you, people will just be attracted to that. You know, even when you don't feel like you're not your best self, just know it's
Mm-hmm.
something about you always that's going to be attracting other people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
always just be confident. And sometimes it's hard because, like for me, I haven't in a long time, but sometimes I doubt my product, or sometimes
Mm-hmm.
like for now I'm going into a different area. Like I've done competitions before, right? And sometimes I were like, like, oh well, man, who's this person because they look like this. But then I realized when it's time for the taste tester, bro, your food was better than everybody's. But the thing about it was, I had to really stop and say, no, bro, you're exactly who God wants you to be. And as you start to really operate in the love of God for your life, is a certain level of confidence that there's only going to be one Josh, there's only going to be one Natalie.
Yeah.
And once you focus on who God called you to be,
That's
everything
it.
else just perfectly flows.
That's
I'm
it.
not gonna be like I talk like Natalie is good at what she does with clarity because that's God gifts on her life, and she
Mm-hmm.
focuses on Natalie. Natalie does not try to be anybody else. I don't
Mm-hmm.
try to be anybody else because I can't.
That's right.
I actually
Woo!
have better chances of being
Because
me in
I
the room
can't.
than showing up as somebody I seen on TV or YouTube.
Oh, that's
Like
good.
once you show up confident, show up in your gifting. I learned to operate in the giftings that belong to me because when I operate in the gifts that belong to me is a certain level that I can be authentic with. When you show up as somebody else, it's not authentic. If you're not, people love authenticity, and sometimes your message gets so drowned out and watered down because you're trying to be like somebody else. Let so and so be so and so, but let you be you because there's a beauty in you being authentic about you, right? And that's why I always appreciate about people like Natalie and my friends because we will never try to be nobody else. Like, listen, what you see is what you get. We're gonna listen to you for your guidance because sometimes there's things Natalie gonna guide to me and vice versa. But I'm still gonna be me. I'm still gonna be Josh because I know there's a blessing when I show up authentic as myself.
That part right there. There's a blessing when I show up as myself.
Yeah,
Okay, I love that you said I don't want to be anybody else because I can't.
yeah,
And that's what I love about, oh, I don't know. There's so much I want to say about that, but I was like, I'm not going to get into it because it's just like these are the things that we have to think about when you think about deeply. And this is a whole nother tangent, but I'm gonna cut it short about boundaries and the boundaries that which is, it goes back to your values.
Yeah.
People look at boundaries and think it's a restriction, but it's not a restriction. You have a boundary around the fact that you can only be you. I can't body hop and go into anybody else's body and become them. I could, no, for real. Like when you really think about it, I can only become myself. So within the boundary that I have been giving of this self and body and mind, how can I blow it out the water? So how can I take what I have that's mine and just make it the best that it can possibly be? And
That's
if we
good.
think about it deeply as in the personal boundary within our body, imagine if you have $5. How can you take $5 in your hand and blow that $5 out the water and make 5 million?
Because
How
it's
can you take
possible.
the thoughts? That is possible, though.
Yeah.
How can you take the thoughts in your mind and blow it out the water and make a multi-million dollar company? We have these boundaries for a reason. How can we blow it out the water with what we got instead of, man, I wish I was this person. If I only had what that
Yeah.
person had. If I could be like that, if I had those parents, I would be. No, what you have is enough to make it the best that you can possibly make it because
Yeah.
you got
True.
it.
Yeah. The more
That's
you
where
focus on what
confidence
you
comes
don't
from.
have, the more you dwell on lack.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
realize that too. Is it's like I can go on and on about what I didn't have, but what I didn't have, all it also built character in me to appreciate things to a
Yes.
different level. Like
Yes.
that's why I think I broke down at that boss up a bit because I was just so grateful from where I
Where you
was and to
came
where I
from.
am,
Yeah.
but I never
Yeah.
took time to say, I wish I had that. Because
Yeah.
okay, so what? You gonna keep wishing, or you gonna imagine what you
Are you
want?
go? Come on.
I'd rather take time to imagine and work towards my imagination than keep looking at what I don't have because that's not beneficial to me looking at what I don't have.
Yeah.
But just kind of wrapping this up, I'm so excited because we have a few different things. We have three different things going on. First up, we have the Boss Up summer series popping up where we're going to actually every second and fourth Tuesday of the summer we're going to be
Hmm.
having workshops in Jersey City. The
Let's
second
go.
thing, second thing is Boss Up Jersey City is going to happen next in October 21st to 23rd. Instead of doing 1 days, fam, we're doing 3 days because it was so impactful. We're going to do three
Yes.
days. And then also, Natalie and I, it should be launching probably like next week or the 1st of July. We're launching our community, our coaching community, which is gonna be really, really dope. So you'll have us more than just on Wednesdays. You'll have us
Wednesdays.
3 days out the week
Yes.
where we're gonna do a lot more coaching stuff, a lot more classes because it's really time to boss up and win.
Yeah.
It's time to really build opportunities strategically and successfully. It's time to live your best life. It's time to walk into confidence, walk into your goals and your
Yes.
dreams
Yep.
because it won't happen until you're ready. And we want to train up in a community that's not only just that's are gifted, that you're confident,
Mm-hmm.
that you know you're
Mm-hmm.
successful, that you have
Mm-hmm.
tools that are tangible for you to really go to the next level.
Yeah.
It's time to just be equipped with by using what's already inside of you to really come out to really produce the best things.
Yep. We want to help you see results. Period.
And that's it.
That's it.
So listen, fam, we thank you guys for tuning in today. Once again, you guys can click the link, and if you're looking for coaching, you can automatically DM us. Click the links in our bio, start coaching with us. We're here to help. We're here to service. Natalie has a consultation. I do as well too. If you're looking to pivot and grow in the marketplace, we're here to help you. We're we're successful, but we're still working on more success. So
Yeah.
we can really help you, show you, break down the tools, how to really apply principles that you need in life to really grow. And the thing about it too is asking for help is not a weak move. Asking for
Mm-hmm.
help shows that you are strong enough to want to win. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with working through your network to build success because guess what? Success loves speed, and that's what coaching does. It provides the speed
Success
to
loves
your
speed.
success to make it happen faster than it would if you're doing it by yourself.
Exactly. I love it. Listen, DM Coach Chef J Purpose, DM me clarity, and we'll get you everything that you need to move forward with purpose and clarity. We don't play no games. You know we out here. We making it happen.
Be
Our
tough now.
clients are
Listen,
making
listen.
it
If you're not ready,
happen.
be tough. I'm gonna say that right now. We're
Let-
tough.
For real. But you got to be tough in order to move forward. We're not just going to be like, oh, motivate you and that's it. No. What steps are you taking to get to the next level? What steps are you making? Listen, I had a client hop on a C3 Clarity Framework session with me, launched her program, $9,000 the first day.
Wow.
$9,000 the very first day. I had a client work with me. The next day, she got a $5,000 client because now she was clear on who she was called to. She was now speaking to the right people with the right voice and telling them who she really was. So if you're ready, purpose, clarity, holla at us.
All right, then have a good week, guys. We'll see you guys next week.